Hey there folks, in this short video we're going to talk about what is OfficeAutomated.com. My name is Robert Barton, I'm the president and founder of OfficeAutomated.com, but before we get into that, as a business owner for over 23 years myself, if you're a business owner, a physician, or an office manager, have you ever wondered if there was an easier way to manage employees? I don't know about you, but I have found that one of the greatest challenges with running your own small business is dealing with employees. I mean, think about it. We have to interview them, we have to hire them, we have to onboard them, we have to train them, we have to cross-train them, we have to hold them accountable to that training because they kind of get off track a little bit. We have to discipline them when necessary. We have to communicate with them efficiently. We have to review them so they know where they stand within the organization. We have to measure their performance in some way. Hopefully that's quantitatively. We have to manage assigning tasks. How many times have you assigned a task to an employee and it just kind of falls through the ether, and only to realize a week later or 2 weeks later that you don't know the status of that task? We have compliance issues. If you're a medical office, we have to make sure that people are following HIPAA and different compliance protocols. And then we have to manage their time worked. We have to track PTO and sick time, and we have to terminate them sometimes as well. So what are the consequences of not managing those employees efficiently? Well, we have wasted time repeating yourself. How many times have you kind of got a policy together and then told everybody to follow it, and then only find yourself repeating yourself over and over again when they're not following it? Or maybe when you have staff turnover, the new staff member comes in and you're sitting down with them to have the same conversation yet over and over again. And I realize you have a policy and procedures manual. We're going to talk about that. But usually that's paper, and there's disadvantages to having that on paper. So we have wasted time retraining new hires after employee turnover. We have employees not following company policies and procedures, which leaves the company exposed, again, going back to the HIPAA issue or some of the compliance issues with regard to insurance training, making sure there's no fraud and there's a culture of compliance within the office. We have employees leaving and then requesting and being awarded unemployment benefits because HR wasn't handled properly. Look, most of the time in small businesses under 50 employees, sometimes even under 100 employees, we don't have dedicated HR professionals, people who literally go to school to train on how to manage and kind of deal with employees. So it's often handled by the business owner, sometimes by the physician or an office manager, and we're just not experts in that stuff. So sometimes it's not handled properly, the documentation's not there, someone files for unemployment, and then it costs the business money. The inability to prove adequate HIPAA and ongoing compliance training, resulting in a fine. So again, as a healthcare practice, you have to have this ongoing training. It's a burden, it's a problem because time goes by so fast. 3 months goes by and you realize you haven't done ongoing training with your entire staff. And who wants to pay for ongoing training as well? It just doesn't seem like an activity that has a lot of return on investment unless you have a problem and you're being investigated for a HIPAA violation or something like that. Then it seems like a really good return on investment. Otherwise, if you have a staff of 25, 30 employees and you're having to pay to have them retrained on HIPAA on a pretty regular basis, it can get a little bit costly. Inefficient company communication. So non-verbal communication, much more efficient than verbal. And there are a lot of different ways to communicate, but they're all disconnected. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. And all of this basically costs time. So if you have an inefficient way to deal with employees, manage employees, all the different activities that we showed on the screen there, if you don't have that solved, it basically costs you time, and time is money, so money is profitability essentially. So what is OfficeAutomated.com? Well, we are a software company, a marketing company, and a consulting company, and I'm going to talk about mostly the software today. In other videos, we'll talk about the reason we're a consulting company and also a marketing company. Office Automated is essentially 11 different solutions all wrapped into one platform that gives you all the tools necessary to manage, train, track, communicate, any activity with regard to employees. Office Automated gives you the tool all tied together with one login, and it starts with our automated training and cross-training. So when new employees come on, you need to train them. We have to get them up to speed on how the business runs and what the policies and procedures are, and we have automated training for that. You can also cross-train your employees. You know, most small businesses don't have a lot of excessive employees, and if an employee goes out on sick or maternity or something like that, you may have to cross-train an employee into another position. And no business owner or manager wants to take the time to sit down and have that conversation over and over and over again. And many times we don't even remember how the employees are doing their job in the first place. And if an employee leaves unexpectedly for whatever reason, then it often leaves the business in a crisis, and this helps to solve that crisis. Streamlined Communications. Our system is designed to be able to talk to groups of people or individuals, and we can also talk to individuals or groups across different locations. So it really makes the communications more streamlined. There are many communication apps out there. They just don't all tie together with your HR, your training, and everything else that Office Automated has. We have automated initial and ongoing HIPAA training. Again, for healthcare practices, we have to do HIPAA training on an initial basis. But we also need to have ongoing training because employees forget. It's not a matter of just training them that when they hire, it's a matter of the ongoing training and keeping them sharp with HIPAA and making sure that there are procedures that are followed if there is a breach. You know, it's not as if we can all be perfect in terms of following HIPAA guidelines and HIPAA procedures. It's how compliant are we when we do have a problem, when there is a breach? Are we following those procedures, and do you have that documented? Paperless human resources. Human resources, again, we don't have human resource professionals most of the time at the small business level. So we need to have really easy systems and everything at our fingertips where we can accomplish reviews, write-ups, warnings, note to employee files, you know, automate the process of collecting data on that employee so that you have something when you sit down to do the review and it's all at your fingertips without having to search around and look for different things. We have the automated employee history. Again, every single keystroke that an employee makes in our system is automatically recorded in this history. That goes for office topic manual reads, that goes for training in the curriculum, HIPAA training, any other tasks that they complete, any checklists they complete. Everything is all recorded automatically in this history. This history is not editable, so they can't change it. We can't change it as Office Automated. You can't change it. And so it'll actually hold up in a court of law with regard to showing that this employee has been trained and they should have known that they violated such and such policy. They should have been expected to have been terminated because they were warned, they had a write-up, and then of course they were terminated, so therefore they're not entitled to unemployment benefits for the next 6 months. They broke the rules. And when you have everything documented automatically, it makes it much easier for you to protect yourself as an employer. We have Task Manager. How many times, as I said, have you assigned a task to an employee and you lose track of that? Now I realize there are many task managers on the internet. You could type that in and you can, you know, have your pick of literally probably tens or hundreds of task managers. The problem is they're all disconnected again. They're not tied into a solution that is tied into with everything else that you're using to manage your employees and manage your business. So, you know, it's not as efficient. You have a different login, you have a different payment, you have to pay for each employee. Our task manager is integrated with our system so nothing slips through the cracks. Company-wide calendar. Every single activity that is tied to a date can be displayed on this calendar. Your reviews, your birthdays, vacations, anything at all, tasks, anything at all can be displayed on the calendar to where everyone knows everyone else's status. We can have meetings that take place on the calendar, and we actually have a meeting documenter. Just tremendous capability with regard to the company-wide calendar. A company scoreboard. We have the ability to track any stat that you want to track, a lead measure and a lag measure. I won't go into what those are in this video, but suffice it to say that most of your practice management software or other business management software will track your lag measures. So if you use QuickBooks, for example, you have a profit and loss, you have your production, your collections, that type of thing. Those are all lag measures. How do we push a lag measure to grow the business and have goals? Well, the company-wide scoreboard within Office Automated allows you to track anything that you want to track and then display it with graphs, pie charts, bar graphs, numbers, percentages, whatever the case may be. You have infinite capability to be able to see this data and have total transparency in your business. We have one specific login for each employee, and that is crucial because each employee is responsible for their activity within the system, and all that's tracked automatically, as I said. So again, we have 11 different solutions all tied together. The fact that they're tied together makes them much more powerful. Take strings, for example. Strings in and of themselves have potential, but when you tie them together, they become a net. And the net in and of itself has a lot more potential than just individual strings. That's what Office Automated is. It ties everything together. We increase your protection, your profitability, and accountability with your employees, and we make it much easier to execute the most difficult thing that I have found with regard to running a small business, which is dealing with all the different issues that employees bring to the table. But if we don't have them, and if we don't have good ones, we can't scale our businesses and we can't achieve what we're looking to achieve. If Office Automated looks like it would help your business, I would love to spend some time on a personal demo with you, show you a little bit more, and answer any questions you may have and how our services can help your business run more smoothly with less headaches and give you more free time and more profitability. Again, I'm Robert Barton with OfficeAutomated.com, and I hope to speak with you soon.